Everyone. Today I've taken a novel written by Keigo Higashino named Salvation of Saint. It was originally published in Japanese language in 2008 and later translated to English by Alexander Smith in 2012. This is the second book of the series called Detective Galileo. If you are a mystery lover, I would say it's a must read. First book of this Galileo series is Devotion of Suspect X. That's also a very good book, but let's talk about it later. Let's focus on Salvation of Saint in this video. Before I get into the summary of it, here is a quick review. It's definitely a good read, and like I said before, if you're a mystery lover, then I would say this book has done a very good justice for our read. There are enough twists in the story, and we will definitely get the sense of who the murderer is. But the key here is explaining how the murder has been committed. The twist until the very end of the story will definitely do justice. And the author has done a very good job of connecting all the dots. And definitely this is one of the books I've read so far has proper closure for all our open-ended questions. Happy reading, everyone. Let's move on to a quick summary of the book. And of course, I'm not going to reveal any twist of the book. So continue watching if you're interested. Thank you. Salvation of Saint is about a couple, Yoshitaka and Ayane, who met a little over a year ago in single scala event. They felt the spark and they started dating. After a few months of dating, they decided to get married. And here they are. They're about to celebrate their first anniversary together. Yoshita is a very well-known businessman. He's a CEO of a company. I would say he's a self-made man. He grew up as an orphan, and maybe that's the reason he wanted to set up a family of his own. And as far as Ayane is concerned, she's a famous tapestry and patchwork artist. She grew up from Sapporo, northern Japan. She's a single child. She's a loner mostly. She is also a self-made individual having a passion for art, and she even pursued studies in London before starting to work in Tokyo. They lived in one of Tokyo's posh area in an isolated independent house. It was well maintained and it has a huge garden. Especially Ayane loves flowers, and she has even set up a private garden and second floor balcony. She always takes care of them very well, watering them timely and taking care of each and every flowers in it so they won't wither out. On the contrary, Yoshida doesn't care about those gardening, flowers, anything. He's focused on business and he's a pure businessman, I would say. And one thing to be noted, Ayane looks a pretty much perfectionist. She wants everything to be perfect and she makes sure the whole house is well maintained and organized. Well, a typical women's mentality. Ayane also learned cooking. So previously she wouldn't cook, she wouldn't step into kitchen, etc. But after marriage she wanted to be a perfect wife. So she even went for cooking classes. She tried out all the dishes and she would always cook for her husband. Ayane runs a tapestry studio where she teaches tapestry to several students. She also has several assistants. One of the main apprentices is Hiromi. She is taking care of the studio and also helps in teaching the students. On a Friday evening, Yoshitaka and Ayane hosted a party to their friends. And as usual, Ayane took over the kitchen and she made a very wonderful, delicious dishes for all of them, and they had really very good party. Now the main story. Right before their wedding, Yoshitaka came up with the one and only condition to Ayane. Though it came as a shock to her, she still went ahead with wedding and married him, and she's about to complete a year. The condition is if they can't have children within the first year of their marriage, then they should get separated. Today, Friday, when they are trying to host a party to their friends, Yoshitaka reminds his wife about the condition of their marriage and asks her to move out. In spite of being devastated, Ayane still hosted the party and it went along well. She did take some time to think about it and wanted to visit her parents in Sapporo, especially her father being sick and all. And she thought she'll spend this long weekend with her parents in Sapporo. So with the bags packed, she calls up Hiromi and gives her house key to her just in case of any emergency when Ayane is away from Tokyo. Now that Ayane is gone, Hiromi has the key to the house. Shitaka is alone in the house. Now author talks about the relationship between Shitaka and Hiromi. Well, he's already in plan to the next step of getting a family of his own. He invites her to the house. They have coffee together. Next morning, as usual, Hiromi leaves the house to continue work in studio and also excited about their dinner plan tonight. Once the work is over, she's trying to reach out Yoshitaka for the plan. He didn't pick up the call and she keeps trying and wondering what has happened to him and all. And so she thought like she'll directly go to the house and check. The house was fully locked from inside, and so she walks in and she unlocks using her key. She goes inside the living room and she was dumbstruck by seeing Yoshitaka was lying down dead and a coffee cup besides him. She was speechless, shocked. She didn't know what to do, but then finally called police and reported it. The police and forensic teams have arrived at the crime scene immediately. With all doors and windows locked from inside, even upstairs bathroom is not big enough for anyone to come through it. The real puzzle starts here. Initially, police suspected it to be a suicide, where he drinks coffee with poison and he's dead. But further questioning Hiromi, they learnt about the dinner plan and he was happy and was about to leave his wife for Hiromi. Then the suspicion immediately falls on Ayane, the wife. But the question here is, how could she have poisoned her husband when she is like 1,000 miles away in Sapporo at the exact time her husband died? Okay, so there are a number of open-ended questions that detectives are puzzling around. Our detectives Kuznahi and his rookie detective Utsumi are very much determined to solve this puzzle, and our very own author has done an excellent job in revealing the answers to these questions one by one. He takes on female intuitions, interesting angles to work on with different characters, thinking over the crime scene again and again, really trying to figure out how this perfect crime would have happened. And of course, our very own detective Galileo, as he was lovingly called, Mr. Manabu Yukawa, a university physics professor, volunteering his work of analyzing and helping the detectives to figure out what exactly has happened and how to prove this perfect crime. Over the investigation, detectives will definitely find out the murderer. But the only thing that stops them is, how is this impossible crime would have been committed by the murderer successfully? That's in the book with all the twists and turns. Do read it, enjoy it. Thank you for listening till the end.